Chapter 497, Treasured Bodies of Double Spirits. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Huang Shenyi brushed the dirt off his clothes and glanced at Luo Shuaihan and Yuanmook Singerling, who were across him. He said coldly, "You were able to counter one of my attacks, proving that you two are somewhat skilled. However, if you think that you are capable of fighting against me, you are mistaken." Yuanmook Singerling smiled and said, "Is that so? We will only know if we are wrong after a fight." Swish! Yuanmook Singerling transformed into a ghostly shadow and charged, leaving 7 shadows on the ground. By the time the 7th shadow stopped, she was hovering a meter off the ground. With her fingers closed, she formed a palm knife and struck at Huang Shenyi's neck with the power of ice. Yuanmook Singerling seemed to have reached an impossible speed with her attack, but Huang Shenyi's strike was even faster. No one saw how he attacked. They only heard a bang and saw Yuanmook Singerling fly outward. Yuanmook Singerling landed on the ground and retreated a dozen steps, bearing a pained expression on her face. Her left palm covered her lower abdomen while a streak of blood stained the corner of her lips. Her face was as white as paper. "You survived my attack. Interesting." Huang Shenyi's pupil contracted slightly. He immediately leapt forward and stretched out one of his hands. Following the palm power, a dozen wind blades flew from the center of his palm. Each wind blade turned into a 2-meter-tall white skeleton. There was something evil about them and they each held a long knife, giving out a ghost-like cry. From the distance, Huang Shenyi's palm power formed a ghost army. An inferior class martial technique from the ghost level, 9th Earth Evil Wind Palm. It was only now that Huang Shenyi became serious. Huang Shenyi is so powerful. No wonder he claimed to be able to defeat the second person on the heaven board, Hu Li, within 3 strikes. With my level of skill, I wouldn't even be able to block this one attack of his. Yuanmook Singerling was already seriously injured by Huang Shenyi's attack. She did not dare to meet the approaching 9th Earth Evil Wind Palm directly and could only retreat as much as she could. She was furious. A proper saintess of the moon worship sect had been forced to retreat by an emissary of the Black Market Excellence Hall. If word got out, would it not ruin her reputation? Luo Shuaihan and Huang Yanshan immediately charged and stood in a line with Yuanmook Singerling. Zigzag Luo Shui River, flowing smoothly. Luo Shuaihan stepped up and stood at the forefront. Every inch of her skin glowed with a golden light. Her slender arms followed a strange path, outlining the shape of the 9 twists of the Luo Shui River, creating a genuine Shi River in midair. Yuanmook Singerling and Huang Yanshan both struck, using their own martial techniques to block Huang Shenyi's palm power. Boom! They met the attack head-on once again. Huang Shenyi continued to have the upper hand, sending Luo Shuaihan, Yuanmook Singerling, and Huang Yanshan backward. Huang Shenyi stopped attacking. He stared at Luo Shuaihan and said, "Are you the saintly being of Saint Luo Gentry?" Luo Shuaihan? Luo Shuaihan answered, "Yes I am." Huang Shenyi nodded and said, "No wonder you could block my attack. You are the holy body of golden light of the 6 great kings of the new generation in the eastern region. All right, for the sake of her predecessor Luoxu, I won't kill her today." Immediately, Huang Shenyi turned to Huang Yanshan and said coldly, "Commandery Princess Yanshan, I can let you go today, but don't forget about our duel. If you do not appear on the heavenly battle stage within half a month, I will view it as a sign of you looking down on me. When I eventually break into the Fish Dragon realm, I will have no choice but to go to the Cayenne Yui Commandery to challenge the Cayenne Yui Commandery Prince." Hee. Upon saying this, Huang Shenyi let out a sinister laugh and left. What an arrogant man. Yuanmook Singerling pouted and huffed coldly. Luo Shuaihan said, "He is indeed very arrogant, but his strength is truly frightening. I heard that he is also a very powerful array master and that his spiritual power has already broken through to the 40th level. With the help of the arrays, he would be even stronger. When he fought with us earlier, he probably only used 30% of his power at most. He's so powerful," Huang Yanshan said as she furrowed her brows. Based on the power Huang Shenyi had demonstrated earlier, Huang Yanshan felt as though she was looking up at a great mountain who barely had to lift a finger to crush her to death. Yet, Luo Shuaihan said that he had only used 30% of his power. If he were to use all his power, how strong would he be? Yuanmook Singerling was unhappy and muttered, If I could break through to the completion of the heaven realm, I would definitely be able to fight him. Xingling, what are you saying? Huang Yanqun asked. Juanmu Xingling smiled sweetly and hugged Huang Yanqun's arm. Sister Chen, I'm saying that because Huang Sheni is so powerful, you shouldn't challenge him to a battle. Upon stepping onto the heavenly battle stage, you would have already died under his hand before being able to admit defeat. Luo Shuaihan added, Xingling is right. With your current ability, you'd be a dead man walking if you agreed to battle Huang Sheni. Huang Yanqun shook her head and said in a serious tone, Huang Sheni is very sinister and cunning. If I don't agree to battle him, he will certainly go to Cayenne's Yue Commandery to defeat father and other members of the royal family. He has left me no choice but to battle him. Given Huang Sheni's cultivation, he was no match for the Cayenne's Yue Commandery prince even if he broke through to the fish-dragon realm. However, with his power and status as one of the 7 kills emissary of the Black Market Excellence Hall, Huang Sheni's power was unimaginable. Juanmu Xingling said, he is not forcing you to battle him, he is forcing Zhang Yuochen to show himself. He has always wanted to kill Zhang Yuochen. Now, we can only hope that he will return from the wood spirit primitive world soon enough. Perhaps only he is a match for Huang Sheni. Lu Shuaihan was worried and said, it is rare for one to come across a genius such as Huang Sheni who has been at the completion of the heaven realm for many years. Even if Zhang Yuochen rushed back, he may be no match for Huang Sheni. There's no other way. He has to come back to face this battle. After all, he is Sister Chen's fiancé. Juanmu Xingling stroked her chin with her fingers. A bright light appeared in her eyes and she said, it looks like I have to make a trip to the wood spirit primitive world to give the news to him ahead of time. The wood spirit primitive world, the Blackwood Field. Zhang Yuochen sat cross-legged at the summit of the mountain. Both his hands were placed near his abdomen and a fist-sized purple cloud-patterned eaglewood hovered between his palms. Strands of genuine chi flowed out of his palms. Crashing into each other, it turned the purple cloud-patterned eaglewood into wood powder. The pores on his palms acted like a vacuum and absorbed the wood powder into his body. In the beginning, when I formed the treasured body of water spirit, it refined a total of 4.5 kilograms of black glazed spinel. If I want to successfully form the treasured body of wood spirit, I would need about 4.5 kilograms of purple cloud patterned eaglewood. He had already refined 4.4 kilograms of purple cloud patterned eaglewood and was getting closer and closer to achieving the treasured body of wood spirit. However, the closer he got to success, the more difficult it became to absorb the purple cloud-patterned eaglewood. The power that exuded as each particle of wood powder absorbed into his body left a heaven-shaking, thunder-exploding effect and caused a great deal of damage to his body. His flesh was continuously destroyed and then healed. As Zhang Yuochen refined the purple cloud-patterned eaglewood, he took the blood of wood spirit, enduring a level of pain that common people would not be able to. Drops of blood oozed out of his pores and bloody lines ran across his skin. He could only refine 50 grams of purple cloud-patterned eaglewood per day, and yet his clothes were completely drenched in blood. After recovering overnight, Zhang Yuochen continued the refinement process the next day. Aoxinyan looked at Zhang Yuochen's bloody state and bit her lip, hesitant to let him continue. She was tempted to persuade him that he should take things slow and that it was not too late to refine the treasured body of wood spirit after entering the completion of the heaven realm. However, Blackie stopped her and said, Zhang Yuochen is currently practicing the wood spirit and water spirit in treasured bodies of double spirits. It is a lot more difficult than practicing treasured body of water spirit alone. Later on, he will have to blend all 5 types of 5 elements spirit treasure and practice the 5 elements chaotic body. Without great perseverance, he will not be able to successfully complete the 5 elements chaotic body. He is not only practicing the treasured bodies of double spirits, he is also training his willpower. You will not be doing him any good if you try to change his mind now. I understand. Aoxinyan sat down again and looked at Zhang Yuochen from a distance. She realized that this was why he had such a high cultivation at such a young age. Indeed, not as simple as just being talented. I cannot be lazy either. Otherwise, in the future, the difference in skill between us will grow larger and larger. With this in mind, Alcyone took out the purple cloud-patterned eaglewood that Zhang Yuochen had given to her previously and began to refine it. She was also going to practice the treasured bodies of double spirits. Her power would increase greatly with the combination of the treasured bodies of double spirits and her half-dragon body. After 5 continuous days, Zhang Yuochen finally refined 4.5 kilograms of purple cloud-patterned eaglewood, and had successfully completed the water spirit and wood spirit treasured bodies of double spirits. I finally succeeded. Zhang Yuochen opened his eyes and took a deep breath, feeling very happy. He stood up, walked to the edge of the cliff and began communicating with the wood nature spiritual chi between heaven and earth. Afterward, he stretched out his finger and the genuine chi at the tip connected with the wood nature spiritual chi, forming streaks of genuine chi lines that looked like tree roots. Gradually, the genuine chi lines became more and more solid and eventually formed a true wooden root. It drilled into the mud and rock and pierced deeply into the cliff. PFFFT. A tender sprout grew out of the wall of the cliff at a rate visible to the naked eye. It grew leaves, a bud, and, finally, blossomed into a beautiful flower. The cliff and even the mountain turned into a sea of flowers. The air was filled with the thick fragrance of flowers. Upon seeing this, Alcyone and the Orange Star Emissary were both shocked. It was like seeing a miracle. Was such mysterious power only possessed by saints? What beautiful flowers! How fragrant! Alcyone took a deep breath and looked intoxicated. She said excitedly, "Group leader, when one successfully learns the treasured body of wood spirit, will they be able to bring life back to a withered tree, to move flowers and connect wood, to immediately create a lively sea of flowers, woods, or meadow?"